amazing what people say about you when you pay them. It works, trust me. So I love to start with the magic because to me it represents the universe. Okay. I watch from behind and everyone, you know that it's going to turn out the way it's going to turn out. But yet for some reason we don't trust it. We didn't trust whether or not the glass had water in it. And oh my God, there was no water in it. Oh my God, he knew the words. Oh, can you believe that? But yet, you have to trust the magic. And I wanted to put this on about compassionate capitalism. I was blessed to write a #1 bestseller connected to goodness. And then the universe gave me a bigger blessing because Blaine Bartlett, one of my mentors, came to my office and said, hey, would you like to write a book with me? I'm like, yeah, what about? He said, compassionate capitalism. I said, well, what is compassionate capitalism? He said, well, that's what you do here at Sports One Marketing with Warren. I've never seen any company that represents and plays out compassionate capitalism so well that you actually create a void and provide value and help others first, but yet still make money. You guys are very capitalistic, right? Moonstein and Meltzer, we like to make money, we like to help people, and we like to have fun. And so the best part about him coming to write a book for me is, and I suggest you write a book with Blaine because it's tremendous. He came in to the meeting to write the book and he's like, oh, here it is. I was like, here's what? Oh, I've outlined the book here. And I started looking, I go, this isn't an outline, Blaine, this is a book. Yeah, but you can read it and like tell me what you think and I'll add in your words. I was like, oh, this is perfect. I spent 9 years writing my first book and 9 minutes writing my second. And the second one's better than the first. So I was blessed. But, this illusion of giving is something that, to me, has changed throughout the years. And working with the Unstoppable Foundation and the Crescent Moon Foundation, I've learned a lot about giving and the illusions of giving and trusting the universe. Because in order to give, you have to trust the universe. I'm going to do my own little trick here. Does anybody have a $20 bill? Come on up here, my new friend. 2 days in a row. All right, what's your name?
Owen.
Owen.
Owen Newell.
Owen Newell, philanthropist. Do you have 20?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Here's, let's see. Perfect, bring it out. Will you trade this $100 bill for 20?
Of course.
All right. Thank you. All right, have a seat.
Perfect.
Now, people think I'm crazy, but I really rely on the energy of what I call the 100 to 20 rule. I truly believe, more than you believe, that the water wasn't going to fall on that head or the word wasn't going to come up, that every $100 of value that I give, if I only would ask for 20 back, that more hundreds would come to me, that I create a void. And it's a trust that even the biggest philanthropists and humanitarians, they go through a process. I was at the gala for the Unstoppable Foundation, and the Procter Gallagher Institute's the biggest donor to our foundation. They match every dollar that we have, and Sandy Gallagher was honored because they give millions of dollars to our foundation. And I was listening to her speech, and she talked about how she committed every month to give to the Unstoppable Foundation. And this is a very successful woman, great partner, my mentor, Bob Proctor, many of your mentors as well. And I found it curious that she said, the first month when the check was due, I was extremely nervous, and I started thinking, well, maybe I can wait till next month to pay it, and what if my company fails? And I started thinking about the way I felt when I shifted the paradigm of value, when I truly trusted the 100 to 20 rule, that I really had to give value. When I was fearful and started to give, I came out of bankruptcy 10 years ago and changed my perspective and decided that I'd wake up every morning and pray to God for 10 people to help. And that every moment of my day would be spent to provide as much value as I could and only ask for 1/5 back. That's a complete change in my life. And luckily, my wife had more trust in me than I probably actually had in the universe, because with 4 children who weren't in college yet, 3 of them Jewish girls and going to college and graduate school someday and getting married someday, there's a lot to be afraid of. A lot to be afraid of, to turn the glass over and see would water come out. And I remember feeling like Sandy, gosh, should we give a scholarship to Warren's Foundation? My high school, there's so many kids that need scholarships to college. We haven't even sent our kids to college. I just was bankrupt. And my wife, who has much more trust in the universe, especially at that time, said, yeah, we should. It'll come back to us. Now, I also heard her say something that the more that she gave and the more she trusts, the faster it came. But she learned a valuable lesson from Bob Proctor, which I take to heart, and especially being a lawyer. There's a term called quid pro quo. They teach you in negotiations when I work for Leigh Steinberg, quid pro quo, Dave, quid pro quo, right? You're going to give, you're going to get. You give to get. Well, that's not giving, right? Bob Proctor has taught all of us that if you give with the expectation of receiving something, it's trading. And the universe doesn't understand trading. What it understands is giving unconditionally and trusting it, just like you trusted the magic, that it's going to turn out better for you. And so the other interesting thing that I started learning is the universe doesn't know size. It doesn't know size. And I'm just not self-promoting myself. It doesn't. And it works both ways. So if you give, you want to give consistently. And what does that mean? That means when you see someone, help them. That doesn't mean necessarily always give them money, but you can open a door. If you see a piece of trash, pick it up and throw it away. If you see a cart that needs to be put back, take the extra 2 minutes. The universe will tell you, and we've all had it pull at our guts when we're not doing good deeds. The universe knows good deeds, and it keeps accumulating, but it doesn't know the size of your deeds. It just knows it's a good deed. I was in Helsinki speaking, and there's a big, I think it was Helsinki, but there's a big bridge that goes from this island where the beautiful restaurants are back into the downtown area, and it's raining, and we have one umbrella, and I'm with my wife, and we start walking, and it's pouring down rain, and most of the umbrella's over my wife, and we're walking, and there's a gentleman in a submissive position lying on the wet ground, hands out, and God, I got emotional issues. I walked by him with my wife, and I kept looking, and each step I took, my stomach pulled at me. Right? The universe was telling me, go back, and I stepped farther. I'm like, no, it's wet. I gotta go, and then halfway across the bridge, I'm like, wait a second, I'm leaving him because it's wet and cold. Right? That's the reason I was leaving. Kept walking away, and it kept pulling me back. I almost, like an idiot, got all the way across the bridge, and I looked at Julie, my wife, and I said, you're not going to believe this. I got to go. And she literally looked at me like I was crazy. Where? I go back. So I ran back all the way across the bridge, and I'm not in that good of shape, so it took me a little while. I got soaking wet. And I took out my money, and I put it in his hands. And he looked up at me, and he was crying. He took the money, didn't look at the money. He didn't know how much. It could have been whatever that currency was. Could have been 1 or 1,000,000. I don't know what it was. But it was all that I had. And I put it, and I lost for a second why we're here. I lost the value of life. And there was, once again, the universe giving me back way more than I gave. Right? Way more. I've been there. I've had more money than I ever dreamed of, and I didn't feel that way. I didn't feel that way. The universe understands good deeds. And so we need to do as many good deeds as we can, and it doesn't matter what you have. It doesn't matter $1 million, $100 million, or a penny. It doesn't matter. The universe doesn't know size. And then it turns back on the other side. And this is where the capitalist part comes in. And I business coach a lot of people. And I always preach and teach, who here likes to give, right? Everybody automatically raises their hand. Where people have the biggest problem, though, is receiving. So they don't trust the universe in the first place that they're going to receive, and then when they put themselves in a position, there's so many of you that are so giving and so philanthropic and just terrific, wonderful people, but yet you do all the little good deeds again and again and again, and then you're afraid to ask. You're afraid to receive. And if you do receive, you feel guilty. Who here has felt guilty for feeling something? Right? I love to own. Because usually, it's a good example, when someone takes the 100 for 20, oh, no, are you sure? You're giving me a gift, Owen. You gave me the gift. Right? I remember Cynthia Kersey, one of my mentors and the founder of Unstoppable, who stood up on stage and said, I'm going to give you all a gift today. I'm going to allow you to empower these children. I'm going to give you the gift like the universe gave me when I gave my money to that person soaking wet on a bridge. I'm going to allow you to feel what I'm feeling. I'm going to allow you to do that. And you have to replace your guilt. And the way that I did it, because number one, I grew up with Jewish guilt. I always tease my mom that she's the third-degree black belt of Jewish guilt, and that's why my siblings are so successful. But you need to replace that guilt in the receiving. You shouldn't ever feel guilty about receiving. The only time you should be filthy or be aware of what you're doing is what you do with what you receive. It's a completely different philosophy and energy. You should only worry about, I hate worry, but you should only think about and focus in on what am I going to do with what I receive? Not, oh my gosh, can I take that? Oh, is it okay? In fact, I've changed my mathematics of my life to how many good deeds can I do today? How many people, places, or things can I make better? Continually trying to challenge myself not to walk by the piece of paper or the begging person or the cart that's out of order at the grocery store. I'm challenging myself all the time. Stop. Don't pass up the gift. Don't pass up the gift, the opportunity to create a void for the universe to fill. And then don't feel guilty receiving. Most people here don't understand receiving because the universe doesn't know size. And I've been blessed to be around Hall of Fame athletes, billionaires, world thought leaders, and the thing that I've learned that's consistent with all of them is not only that they're consistent in what they do, persistent without quit, but they enjoy the positive pursuit of their potential, and they ask big. They do the little deeds every single day. They do the little deeds. They're in there doing the work. They're doing it every single day. They're loving it. They're positive about it. But what they're really good at, I've learned, is they're asking big for what they want back. When they're putting in the work at practice, they're saying, God, I want to be the greatest quarterback of all time. Oh, but you're African American. God, I want to be the greatest African American quarterback of all time. But everyone doesn't want you to play quarterback. God, I'm going to be the great, right? They're asking big, but nobody's ever done that before. God, I want, or doesn't matter, God, whatever you believe in, I want this. The universe doesn't know any difference between I want to pay my bills to I want $100 million. It doesn't know the difference. That's man-made quantification. It knows giving, it knows receiving, and if you're doing the good deeds, stop cheating yourself, give yourself credit, and take advantage of the power of intention and intend for what you really want. And where you start feeling really good about it is when you know, universe, if you give me $100 million, I'm going to change thousands of people's lives and make it better. I like Warren Buffett because when Warren Buffett was my age, he was one of the wealthiest men. He was worth millions of dollars, not billions at the time. And I remember, because I'm much younger, people saying, gosh, you know, Warren Buffett's interesting because he doesn't give any of his money away. He doesn't give any of his money away. And so just like many of the other greats, you know, ridiculed, here he was. Wasn't like he was spending it on himself, which also aggravated a lot of people, right? He drove the same Oldsmobile. He still lives in the same house. He eats at McDonald's in the morning, and he actually, depending on how good his day is, the variance of his McDonald's meal is about 60 cents. On a good day, he goes for whatever combo, and the other days when it's not so good. He's a really unique person. But Warren Buffett always did good deeds and wasn't asking for anyone's blessings or grace for it. Because in his mind, he was asking much bigger. His perspective was much bigger. He said, gosh, I've been blessed with skills, knowledge, and desire that nobody else around me has. And I know about compound interest. And every penny that I'm going to receive today is going to be worth 100 pennies 20 years from now. And eventually, I'm going to have enough pennies that I'm going to be the most philanthropic person ever. Ever. Not only am I going to give away over half of my wealth, I'm going to give all of my billions of dollars away. I'm not even going to leave it to my children. I'm going to give it all away to everyone. And not only give it away to everyone, I'm going to go to all the other rich people that are around me, these billionaires, and I'm going to start a club and say, why don't you give at least half of what you have away? Come join me. But for 30-some years, Warren Buffett was ridiculed as being scarce, right? Non-philanthropic, The universe didn't care. Only Warren Buffett would care, or his family or his wife, who knew what he was doing. We all have to be consistent, not only in our giving, but we have to be consistent in our receiving. Ask for more. I always tell people there's 3 worlds when it comes to receiving. There's the people that ask for just enough. They're guilt-ridden, they're in their own way, and they ask for just enough even though they want to give more. They feel bad, right? I love the saying, nobody feels good when you feel bad. You can't feel bad enough to make somebody feel good. You can't be sick enough to make them well. But we do it all the time. You have to ask. You have to think big. You have to feel good about receiving. And the only way to feel good about receiving, because our ego brings the guilt. The only way you can feel good, in my opinion, about receiving is knowing confidently what you're going to do with it. That's what allows you to receive more. When you're confident about, this is what I'm going to do with it. And the more that you're clear on what you're going to do with it, and the better the intentions or deeds of what you're going to do with your money, or your time, or your skills, or your relationship capital, or your situational knowledge, whatever assets there are, the universe will reward you. I had a really unique experience this last weekend, and I was surprised I got choked up because my mom's not here. Must be because Warren's in the back, my other mom. But my mom turned 75. And from the age of 25, my mom raised 6 kids, single mom, a teacher. We grew up with nothing. Don't laugh at me, I'm not going to cry. But the interesting thing about it was, when I was 25 years old, I was a millionaire. And I dreamed about being a millionaire. My reason why I wanted money, I think why I could manifest it so fast, my sole purpose of making money was to buy my mom a house and buy my mom a car. Something we never had. And so I think that was the ask of the universe, right? And I did good deeds because she taught me so many good deeds. But the interesting that happened in my relationship with my mom when I was 25 is I started supporting my mom. And I thought I was doing a good deed by continually not only buying her a car, but anything that she wanted. Any trip that she wanted, any money she needed, anything that ever happened, I was there for her. And our relationship changed where I lost sight of who my mother was and who I was because of my mother. I stood on many stages for the last years telling everyone how amazing she is, and all types of great things, and made fun of her. But on Sunday, we had a party for her 75th birthday, and she had all these people there, and they gave toasts. And they talked about my mom as a leader, as a mentor. There was a kid there. There was a 40-year-old there that broke down in tears and told my mother how she changed his life. My mom was his 2nd grade teacher. There's other ladies there. My mom was the principal of the San Diego Jewish Academy, the leading private school in San Diego. My mom was a community leader and president of different women's organizations. My mom, at a later age, my siblings and I put her to Columbia and got a PhD in education. All of this stuff got lost in my mind somewhere over the last 25 years because eventually my giving to my mom almost destroyed my relationship because I saw my mom as needy. I saw my mom as weak. I forgot, my siblings went to Harvard, Penn, Columbia. They're extraordinary people. That didn't come from anywhere except for my mom. She raised us. And I started realizing as I watched how many good deeds my mom had. And in the end, she's never wanted money. That's not her ask. But she was asking big her whole life. And I didn't realize it. But she was asking big. What did she ask for? She asked for healthy, successful children and 14 healthy, successful grandchildren. And to be healthy herself. So at 75 years old, my uncle's extremely successful. Allergists, lawyers, millionaires, extremely successful. And they almost patronized my mom when I was growing up because at times my mom had to borrow money from her brothers and sisters. And I always felt that she felt she was inferior to them. And it was so nice for the universe because her values were different than my values, but her ask was so big And she had manifested. At 75 years old, I looked at it as a 50-year-old with 4 children and said, man, I wish I could be like my mom. So I changed what I'm going to ask for, right? I'm still going to ask big. I'm going to ask really big. I'm good at what I do. Skills, knowledge, and desire. But I'm asking for what I saw my mom and what she has. I want to be there 25 years from now and have my children and grandchildren adore me, give back to me, all the things that have no price. So you don't have to feel guilty about anything receiving when you're doing good with what you receive. Now, last point as we finish, there's 4 values that we live by. Your personal values, your experiential values, your giving values, and your receiving values. Everybody wants to live a balanced life. When I life coach or business coach people, they're like, oh, most common question, Dave, how do you keep it all balanced? Well, first of all, there is no balance in one day. There's no balance, I think, even in a year. If you are 25 years old, you better make sure that you're valuing your personal values and your experiential values much more than somebody that's 85 years old that may have the giving value component. But you need to consistently do good deeds and give. You still have to give, just in a different way. Those values change. I just hope by the time I'm 111, on January 11th at 1:11, which is my birthday, and I'm ready to go, that I can look back and say, 25% of my life was spent on my personal values, 25% in the whole picture. We get so confused that I'm not giving enough. No, you're giving plenty. I'm not giving enough times. That's what I want you to realize. I don't care how old you are, how much you have, give many times. It's a numbers game. Keep doing good deeds. And then ask big when you create that void. Ask really big. My goal in life is to have the reverse tiding. Right? That's one of my goals in life, is to be in a position where all the gifts that I'm given, 10% of them stay with me and 90% of them are given away. I want to be in a position where 10% of everything I have. Until I'm January 11th, in case you want to be there. But 90% of it goes to everybody else. And I want to have my life where I spend most of my time focused on what am I going to do with all that I have? How am I going to maximize what I'm giving with all that I've been blessed with? My biggest worry, my biggest stress, my biggest focus is going to be, what do I do with all this? Who can I help? What can I do? And all of us should be. There's enough of everyone, of everything for everyone. You don't have to live in a world of just enough. You don't. You definitely don't have to live in a world of not enough. But there is a world that I live in, which is a world of more than enough. And the world of more than enough can be yours if you do many good deeds consistently every day. It's extremely important to do things consistently because the mind, the body, mind, and soul work in a consistent nature. You're constantly asking your body, mind, and soul in the universe questions. I want this. Can you do this? I want to be healthy. I want to do this. Well, it's going to give you everything you want. The problem is we confuse it because what I call the zero effect. Right? I see people do this all the time on a diet. They diet day 1, 2, 3, and 4, and they get the exponential results. X to the first, X to the second, X to the third, X to the fourth. Day 5, they go to McDonald's, or they go out drinking, or I'm speaking from personal experience. Day 5, they blow it. What they don't understand is they are exponentially killing themselves. Because instead of getting X to the first, second, third, fourth power, they now have X to the first, second, third, fourth, X to the 0 power. And they've lost all that exponential power, all that exponential growth, the acceleration of those people I know that have more than enough. And at the end of the month, although they've dieted 28 of the 30 days, they've zeroed themselves out and they wonder why they only have incremental results, if any. Whereas somebody that sticks to it consistently every day, persistently without quit, in a positive pursuit of their potential, gets the exponential results, the exponential receiving. And so I ask all of you to consistently every day give. Consistently and persistently without quit. Do good deeds. Enjoy the positive pursuit of your potential as someone who does good deeds. And when you do the good deeds, don't feel guilty, don't feel afraid, don't get in your own way. Ask big. Ask big for what you want, whatever it is. If you want 15 grandkids, ask for 20. The universe doesn't care. It'll give it to you. That's what you want. Ask big, and you will receive big. And only worry about or focus in on, what am I going to do with all of this stuff that I've asked for? How am I going to have enough time to spend with those 20 grandkids? What am I going to do with these $6 billion? What am I going to do? Live as compassionate capitalists. Compassion first, what you receive second, and then you become the distribution. It's a complete flow. I really appreciate everybody. We have time for questions. Please consistently and persistently enjoy the pursuit of your potential. Thank you so much for coming.